저는 아, 옳고 그름이라는 것이 없다. 모든 것이 상대적이라서 그렇게 생각하진 않아요. 그런 상대성이 물론 중요하긴 합니다만은 어떤 행동은 악하다, 어떤 행동은 선하다, 그런 구별은 있다고는 생각합니다. 그러나 사람들을 힘들게 만드는 것은 선한 의도가 항상 좋은 결과를 만들어내는 게 아니라는 데 있죠.
In 2002, Park Chan-Wook released a cult film, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, the first installment of Wook's critically acclaimed Vengeance trilogy. The story follows Ryu, an unemployed man who kidnaps the daughter of his previous manager in order to pay off his sister's medical expenses. Although the film was panned for being what critics recorded as excessively gruesome, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance helped Wook grab enough industry attention to fund his second feature, Oldboy. This film helped solidify Park Chan-Wook's name within the independent cinema scene due to its captivating tale of revenge and humanity. The film depicts a man who has been in prison for 15 years, and once released, he must discover the reasoning behind his abduction. Oldboy seems to be one of Park Chan-Wook's most prolific films in terms of conveying revenge, with the second film being Wook's next feature and final installment to the Vengeance trilogy, Lady Vengeance. Released just 1 year after Oldboy, Lady Vengeance follows a naive girl who must seek revenge on a teacher who forced her to confess to murders that he himself committed. The film sidesteps around this traditional revenge story, instead going for a more interesting than relatable experience, with Wook going as far as saying, "I wanted to create a sense of isolation between the audience and the protagonist, rather than the audience identifying with her." To further understand this, we must first discover how Wook embeds his theory of revenge through his character introductions. This will be particularly within Lady Vengeance and Oldboy, as although Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance does introduce multiple themes of revenge, it does not go into the amount of depth that is portrayed within Oldboy and Lady Vengeance. We are introduced to Guam Ja through a narration of what seems to be a classic retelling of a hero's journey story. The narrator tells the tale of a naive 19-year-old girl who is convicted of murdering a 9-year-old boy. Although her actions are cruel and devilish, she is able to overcome her wrongdoings by converting to Christianity and demonstrating good behaviour, leading to a reduced sentence.
여기서는 우리 모두가 죄인임을 알기 때문입니다. 감사합니다.
However, this tale seems to be a facade, as when she is released from prison she is asked if she will ever sin again, to which she replies with this brutal line.
너나 잘하세요.
She then exits the scene, leaving the Christian group gobsmacked. The first shot we see of Dae-soo is him dangling an unknown character over a roof by his tie, insisting that he tells his story, leaving the character confused and scared.
당신 도대체 누구야, 씨와?
네. 이름은
We are then flashed backwards to a drunk and much chubbier Dae-soo who is sat incarcerated within a police station. Through a series of drunken muttering and chatter, Dae-soo explains to the audience the true meaning behind his name, and also that today is the date of his daughter's birthday. After a series of drunken behaviour, Dae-soo is picked up by his friend Jun Hwan, who takes him to a telephone box to say happy birthday to his daughter. However, this is when the plot begins to turn, as when Hun Jan grabs the phone to say happy birthday to Dae-soo's daughter, he turns around to see Dae-soo has disappeared from sight.
대수야! 마! 대수야! 야, 대수야! 야, 오대수! 대수야! 야, 대수야, 빨리 오란다, 임마! 야, 빨리 가자, 임마! 장난치지 말고! 아, 대수야!
Overall, both sequences leave the audience asking similar questions. Number 1, who did this to the protagonists? Number 2, why did they do this to the protagonists? And number 3, what are the protagonists going to do about it? To answer one of these questions, we must go back and reevaluate each scene to see how Wook embeds the answer through his visual storytelling. Let's start again with Lady Vengeance. As I displayed earlier, Wook's use of montage can be used to convey her rehabilitation story of a naive girl who has fallen from grace. However, this is shown not to be the case, as scenes shown throughout the sequence are reinforced later on throughout the film, showing darker twists on what we originally thought was conveyed. This is confirmed through Guam Ja's transformation in character after being released from prison. It is evidence that her time locked away has helped her reflect on her plot of revenge, and now she is released, she can move forward with her plan. Moving on to Oldboy, Dae-soo's violent instinct seems to glow prominent throughout this opening sequence. However, this is shown not to be the case, as a later sequence shows that Dae-soo is actually saving the man and not trying to harm him. Nonetheless, if we take this information alongside the dialogue within the scene, it is clear that Dae-soo's intentions are not sinister. He is simply trying to make sense and explain his situation to someone other than himself. This is because Dae-soo does not want to simply enact violence upon his kidnapper. He would also like to know the intentions behind his abduction in the first place. This is conveyed later on throughout the film, as Dae-soo was offered the chance to kill his kidnapper in return for not knowing why he was kidnapped, an offer in which he declines, as he knows he will feel no redemption without knowing the truth. Within the climax of Lady Vengeance, Guam Ja manages to entrap Mr. Bieke within an abandoned building, with the sole intention of putting a bullet through his head. However, it seems that she can't bring herself to do it, leading to her contacting the parents of the kids he has killed, so that they can enact their own revenge on the person who has killed their children. However, after the deed is done, and everyone has had their comeuppance, there seems to be a strange aura surrounding each character. It is the aura and sense that nobody feels satisfied or accomplished of what they have done. This is because all of the involved have had something stripped away from them, which has caused them to want to seek revenge. For example, all the parents involved either lost their youngest or only child, while Guam Ja lost her youth and also the chance to become a mother. This is reinforced through two crucial scenes. The first scene would be when Guam Ja and the parents are sat within a restaurant discussing the murder they have committed, while the second scene is a scene where Guam Ja confronts her daughter. This drives home the message that revenge can end successfully, but will not end in happiness, as you cannot bring back what is already gone. Moving on to Oldboy, the film actually covers two revenge stories. The revenge story of the protagonist, Dae-soo, and also the revenge story of the antagonist, Lee Woo-jin. Within the climax of the film, Dae-soo finally comes forward to enact his revenge and discover the truth behind his kidnapping, only to discover it is the truth he will immediately wish to forget. It is discovered that the reason he has been in prison for so long is that so when he is released, he can fall in love and eventually become sexually involved with a girl who is revealed to be his daughter. During his time locked away, himself and the girl, Mi-do, are hypnotized so that when they finally meet, they will have no recollection of each other, making the plot that much more sinister. The plot was put together by Lee Woo-jin in a long-winded revenge plot to show Dae-soo the pain that he felt as a teenager when Dae-soo started a rumour detailing how Lee Woo-jin and his sister had begun an affair. Lee Woo-jin's revenge plot works successfully as Dae-soo gives in to his will and pleads for the secret not to be told to Mi-do, going as far as to pitifully beg and then cutting his tongue in half. However, similar to that to Lady Vengeance, although his plan is successful, this still does not lead to his happiness, as after the whole ordeal is over, Lee Woo-jin has a flashback to the day his sister dies, which leads him to shoot himself, knowing that he no longer has anything or anyone to live for. Dae-soo, on the other hand, wishes to forget the whole ordeal, going as far as to hire a hypnotist from the beginning of the film. However, the outcome to whether this hypnotism worked is left ambiguous. So, what can be learned from both Oldboy and Lady Vengeance? An interesting way to perceive the lessons portrayed through each film would be observe this quote from fiercist Kelly Zhuang. The journey towards revenge, which ironically begins with a notion of restoration and reclamation, blurs the line separating the victim from the victimizer and ends with a more profound loss. Each character, no matter what they have lost, no matter what they have been through, and no matter if they have failed or succeeded, still end with a profound loss. The weight in which revenge carries is unequal. There is always a bleak outcome, no matter what circumstance is thrown into the mix. A fitting conclusion to this topic would be to observe a passage written by Park Chan-wook himself, explaining the bitter, yet accurate consequence of revenge. Revenge is something that makes you happy and invigorates you, only when it is in your imagination. But when it comes to actually realising this, it is never happy and never gives you pleasure, because it is an act of total stupidity. So long as revenge is in the imagination, it is good for your mental health, but it must be inevitably put off, must be inevitably delayed.